all about Turkey. Welcome to my second video about Turkey. In the first video, we talked about the first arrival and transportation and I gave a few tips. If you haven't watched it yet, you can go over there and watch it by clicking the upper right I button over there. In this video, I will guide you from Taksim Square to Galatasaray High School, which is right in the middle of this 1.4 kilometer long Istiklal Street. I will show you some stops on your routes and also briefly mention their history. I will try to keep it as short as possible. However, it seems to be a long one. At least I will try. Cut me some slack, would you? Taksim. Taksim is literally the heart of Istanbul. It's lively, multicultural, and touristy. And if you are watching this, you must be a tourist. So, what are you waiting for? Come here at once. It's an intersection, so you can find lots of different transportation options to come here. A bus, subway, funicular, or even a Havaist bus to come here directly from the airport. When you get off, you will find yourself in the middle of Taksim Square. When you face towards Republic Monument, on your right, you will see Gezi Park. It dates back to 1940s. Before that, there were artillery barracks of Ottoman Empire, which was founded in 1806 by Sultan Selim III. In time, it was damaged and demolished. But before it became Gezi Park, it hosted several important gatherings. In 1923, a famous Turkish football team, Fenerbahçe, won the General Harrington Cup against British occupation forces. In 1932, Turkey had their first international football match against Romania. It hosted many national festival celebrations, balls, concerts, and protests. Tip number 1. If you want to blow off some steam, there is a municipal cafe in Gezi and it's really cheap. Now, let's turn back to the Republic Monument. It was erected in 1928 and it has been the symbol of Taksim since then. One side of the monument represents the Turkish Republic. On that side, you can see two Russian generals behind Atatürk. That represents our gratitude towards Russia for their support during Turkish Independence War and the proclamation of the Republic. And two woman faces on the two sides of the monument actually belongs to the same woman, one of the sculptors of the monument, Sabiha Ziya Bengütaş. You can get further information from those modern obelisks near historical structures. When you walk past the Republic Monument, you will see the eponym of Taksim right in front of you, Maksem. This octagon structure is built to distribute water to the city in 1730 by Sultan Mahmud I. Taksim name is a derivative of Maksem, which means to distribute. Makes sense. Next to it, you will see Taksim Water Reservoir, which serves as an exhibition area now. Carry on, we have a lot more to see. We continue on Istiklal Street, the most well-known street in Turkey. Every day, thousands of people go there to socialize. Another quick tip before we go on. On the north of Istiklal Street, there is a sinister street called Tarlabaşı. Unless you are looking for something illegal, it may be wise to stay away. So, tip number 2. Stay away from Tarlabaşı. There are sayings in Turkish like a total Istanbul gentleman or such an Istanbul lady to praise a person. And when elders see the youth in casual clothes, they always say, once people got into their Sunday best when they set off to Taksim. But that was a long time ago. Now you see all the crazies there. So, don't be shy. Go there and mingle with the crowd. You may be surprised when you realize the difference between the scenery of your eye level and the facade of upper floors. There goes my next tip. Tip number 3. While walking, always look up to see the other side of Istiklal Street. When you walk past Maksem, you will see the French consulate, which was once a French hospital in 18th century. It has a cultural center and a cafe in it, but also a really high security entrance. When you pass French consulate, you will see the restaurant of Smiley Bey on your left. CZN Burak has 3 restaurants in Istanbul, so you may not be able to see him in person. But if you are good, you may just catch a glimpse of Smiley. After you pass Smiley Bey, turn left. On your left, you will see AAT, the Greek Orthodox Church. The name comes from Holy Trinity. It was built in 1880. Once, it was forbidden to build domes on churches in Ottoman Empire. But after the reform movements in 1839, the ban was lifted, and AAT has become the first church to be built with a dome. If you want to see the inside, you may need to go there in the right time. Now, let's go back and enter the opposite street. 100 meters later, you will see Oskiperan Armenian Catholic Church on your right. It was built in 1860s and it was visited by Pope John Paul II in 1979. Now, turn left and follow Kurabiye Street and take the second left. On your left, you will see İnci Patisserie. It's famous for its profiteroles. So, don't forget to take a bite. Meanwhile, I will give you another tip. If some stranger is inviting you to a pub or club, he is working for the place. And don't be mistaken, you will be paying the bill. So, tip number 4. Just ignore the touts. Then, follow the road towards Istiklal Street and turn right. While you are walking, you will see an historical building on the right corner, Ragıp Pasha Apartments. Ragıp Pasha served as a chamberlain for 32 years in Ottoman Empire, until he was exiled. He got this house built for his family towards the end of 19th century. He was also the owner of Site Rumeli Han, a large commercial building, a few buildings farther away from this one. Right next to Rumeli Han, you will see Hüseyin Ağa Mosque. It was first built at the end of 16th century with a dome, but it has been renovated many times so far, and today it stands without a dome. When you pass Demirören Shopping Mall, you will see Madame Tussauds Istanbul in Grand Pera Circle d'Orient building. Circle d'Orient was built in late 19th century and it's said to be a center for coup plotters for many years. Next to it, you will see the Greek consulate. It was built in 1909 by Yanis Shishmanoğlu, a wealthy Turkish-Greek businessman, who later donated it to Greece as a consulate building. There are some exhibitions from time to time if you fancy that. The building right next to the Greek consulate is a passage, which means an old-school shopping mall. They are generally full of knick-knack shops. This mall is called Halep Passage, Aleppo Passage, because it was built by a man from Aleppo in 1885. It was famous for its circus back then. Now, it hosts a historical theater and a movie theater besides other shops. On the opposite side, you will see Atlas Passage. It was built in 1870 as the winter house of Agop Köçeyan. At that time, the ground floor was used as a stable and a circus, and in 1948, that stable was turned into a famous movie theater. Today, besides the movie theater, you can find lots of shops, as you can understand from the name Passage. After this stop, keep following the same direction on Istiklal Street, then take the second right. Before you go on, take a look at the rundown building on the left corner. It's called Tokatlayan Han. Keep this in mind, cause we will come back to that shortly. Now, follow Solakzade Street till the end, where you will see a big signboard hovering over the street on the left that says Nevizade. Nevizade is very touristy, and it's famous for its pubs and restaurants. The best time to go there is the dinner time. So lively. I definitely recommend you to go there. It's a must. When you walk past Nevizade, turn left and follow the path. The street you are on will be the fish market. On your left, between all the shops and stalls, you may see a heavy iron door if you look really closely. That door belongs to Three Horn Church, Church of Three Altars. This Armenian church is built by Garabeta Mirabalyan, also the architect of some marvels like Dolmabahce Palace and Çırağan Palace. This church has been open to worship since 1838. Now, do you remember that rundown building Tokatlayan Han? That building was built in 1895 to create financial support for this church, and it was once the second biggest, fanciest hotel in Istanbul. If you wondered the first one, you have to wait for my next video. Sorry, no spoilers. When we go farther on Sahne Street, you will see two entrances of passages facing one another on each side of the street. On the right, you will see Avrupa Pasajı, which is famous for its statues and glass ceiling, and on your left, you will see Çiçek Pasajı. Çiçek Pasajı, Site de Pera, was first built as Naum Theatre in 1844 and served as one of the first and the best theatres of Ottoman Empire. Many plays and operas were first staged here even before Europe. Sultan Abdülhamit II wrote many plays that were staged here to satirize palace servants. After burning down, it turned into a passage in 1876. Following the Russian Revolution of 1917, many impoverished noble Russian women, including a baroness, sold flowers on Istiklal Street. Due to the harassments of English and French occupation soldiers, they sought shelter in here. Thus gave the name Çiçek Pasajı, flower market. After burning down for the second time, it was rebuilt in 1988 and reopened as a galleria of pubs and restaurants. By the way, Pera is the old name of Beyoğlu, or just Galata, which means the opposite shore. The reason for this was that today's Fatih province was the center of old Istanbul, and Beyoğlu was on the other side of the Golden Horn. And for the same reason, this area was neglected for a long time throughout history. Now, let me tell you another story. Sultans used to come here for hunting, and Gülbaba, Father Rose, a disciple of Bektashi order, lived here in a rose garden. One day, Sultan Bayezid II came by Father Rose's modest cottage after hunting. Father Rose hosted the Sultan so well that Bayezid II asked him to make a wish. Father Rose explained that he was happy with his rose garden and his humble abode, but he would be much happier if there were a school nearby. Bayezid II kept his word and returned to the garden weeks later with the edict which established the Ottoman Imperial School on the grounds next to the rose garden, with Father Rose as its headmaster. Established in 1481, Galatasaray High School, which is right across Çiçek Pasajı, has become the oldest high school and the second oldest school of Ottoman Empire. Father Rose became the first headmaster of Galatasaray and administered school for many years. He died during the Ottoman raid to Hungary. When the Ottoman army went to war, dervishes accompanied it to provide religious prayers. Father Rose was one of them, and today his tomb is located in Budapest. Galatasaray High School is still one of the best schools in Turkey. It has raised generations of scientists and artists. We also have a football club that shares the same name. Legend says Father Rose gave the Sultan red and yellow roses from his garden, which later gave the colors of UEFA Cup owner Galatasaray Football Club. That concludes the first part of our Taksim journey and our video. I had to skip several other places on the way worth mentioning because of time constraint. I will try to mention some of them down below in the info box. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, please subscribe, like and share, and most importantly, enjoy your stay here. Have a nice day.